Hey everyone, this is Ryder from Skip, and I want to do a quick, important video on the EIDL loan process, basically from the very beginning to the very end, so you know exactly what to expect from when you first submitted your application, what emails you'll get, what documents you'll see, to when the money will be in your bank account. So I believe there hasn't been a comprehensive video like this, so I'm going to go step by step. Thankfully, we've had so many users submit their situations and their stories about getting the funding, whether that's the advance or the loan, up to $150,000. And we have had one of our users submit all of their documentation from beginning to end, and the end in his case being getting $150,000 in his bank account. So this video is going to show exactly everything he saw throughout that 6-week process. Okay, that's how long we're talking about. And I'm going to give a few tips, things you can try if you want to try to push things along. Okay, so let's dive in. So again, this is for the SBA's Economic Injury Disaster Loan. If you're wondering, hey, what's my status? I've received my advance, I haven't received my advance, I'm still waiting on the loan, etc. This will answer all those questions. So on March 30th, the Streamlined EIDL application went live. Okay, so that's when many people who've received advances got their loan. So I'm going to show you what that looked like. Again, this is what it looked like before. So maybe you had applied in the weeks prior, mid-March, you were on top of it, and there was this very clunky site that kept crashing. Okay, and if you had applied in this portal, you were asked to resubmit your application on the new form. Okay, so many people didn't see that, and they had an old number that started with a 20, and if you had a 20 number, you needed to reapply. Okay, but this is what it looked like on March 30th. Of course, people on the West Coast had access on Sunday night, so a lot of people were able to submit this 5-minute application on Sunday, March 29th. It went live about midnight Eastern time. And this was the only form. And at the end of this form, you got a number. Many people had 33 or 36 at the beginning. Okay. Now, this person who sent us their information was one of the first 50,000 people to apply. So that's important to note. Even for someone who was in the first 50,000, still had waited 6 weeks, which is for the full loan, 2 weeks for the advance, and I'll get into that. Now, if you, let's see, if you had applied prior to the new form, you would have gotten an email like this, hopefully on March 30th, Monday, March 30th, when they launched the new form. You would have been asked to reapply. That's what it says down here. Please reapply with the new streamlined form, talking about the CARES Act, which was passed on that Friday, and over the weekend the SBA built the new site. So this is what you would have seen. Okay, fast forward a couple days, just to point out that Thursday we launched our self-reporting tracker, which looked like this. So shout out to the tens of thousands of people who've been opting in. And this has allowed some transparency into the process. So we saw a spike of applications those first couple weeks, especially around the 15th, 16th, 17th. Then the funding dried up. Things went down. A second stimulus was approved, or more funding specifically for the SBA EIDL. So application went back up. Still a bit slower this week, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, so then one of the things this person told us on the 7th of April, they called the SBA, okay? And we've heard that this has worked. It's hit or miss. Number one, they have hired hundreds of people to be on the phones. And number two, they have made remarks like, we will add a note to your account. Now, they at the same time say it's first come, first serve. I don't have any clear data on if them leaving a note in your account actually sped things up in terms of getting this application to a loan officer, but it can hurt to call a couple times, especially because it's quicker. When you call that number I just put up, there are a few prompts that nowadays you can get a hold of someone in about 10-15 minutes on the phone. So that's worth a shot. All right, let's keep going forward in time. So for this user on April 14th, they received the advance. Now it's important to note the day before, April 13th, the SBA, that's when they changed the policy to make it $1K per person. On April 13th, out of the blue, they said, actually, you're not getting 10,000 because of the 3-4 million plus applications. We are only doing 1,000 per employee now. So that threw a wrench on a lot of people's plans who had expected the full 10,000. And on the 14th, this person received their advance from the EIDL. So that's about 2 weeks after the initial application. And the next day is when the EIDL portal closed. Okay, so if you went on that website, the Streamlined website, it was redirected to another page now. This was when they realized, okay, we have about 3-4 million applications. We're running out of funding. We need to shut it down. So they shut it down for a good few weeks, and it's still shut down for the vast majority of businesses. Okay, let's keep fast forwarding. Then the main question was, okay, I got the advance. Many of you have gotten the advance. So almost 15% of you have gotten some part of the advance, whether it's 1,000, 2,000. Almost half of you have gotten 3,000 or less. Only around 15% have gotten the full 10,000. But then the next question was, okay, what about the full loan? And so there's a lot of waiting for that. Again, April goes by. This person called the SBA again. He wasn't sure if it was the 28th or 29th, but it was around the end of April to say, hey, am I going to see a portal? I heard things about a portal to apply for the larger loan. And the SBA said, yeah, just wait. It'll get with a loan officer. Okay, so people were holding their breath for these past few weeks and waiting for something. Then on May 3rd, the SBA sent out an email, a reassurance email. So something like this. We understand the challenges your business is facing. Your EIDL loan is currently being processed. In the order it was received, you will receive an email notification when there is a change to your application status. So again, not much there, just kind of a reassurance thing that they have it in the system and something's happening. Emails are going out. So that's what they sent on May 3rd. And there was also confusion around this time of whether the new loan amount, it was clear that it wasn't going to be the full $2 million, but there was talk, okay, would it be $15,000 or $150,000? And last week is when there was clarity around that amount. They said we will only approve loans up to $150,000. And lo and behold, this user on May 6th, so that was last Wednesday, received an email saying this email. Application starting with the 3-6 from disaster customer service at sba.gov saying, you're ready for your next step, create an account. Okay, and I did a screenshot of that account in a previous video, but it was very simple, another streamlined version where you just had to verify your information. So that took a couple minutes. And then it was kicked over to a loan officer. And this is interesting because this is the first and only time there was contact with a real person by email. So out of all of this, the only time someone actually followed up to ask something specific. So this had to redact most of this, like a lot of things from this user, but this was specific question about the loan from a loan officer with a real email and name, who had follow-up questions before kind of approving the loan. So obviously when you get that email, it's a good sign. It's going to come from disaster. I hit his email, but it'll be sba.gov email. Now, a lot of these are contracted folks. So that's important to note. These are people the SBA is hired to contract to process these loans. Okay. So then there's some back and forth, and then that last Friday, April 8th, in this person's case, they got an email that the loan was approved, and they could log into the portal, and they saw something like this. Okay, and that, again, this showed that the $150,000 is the full amount. You could toggle and accept less, and then you had to sign the closing document. So that was a PDF I went through last week. I'm not going to go through it again. I gave some tips on what to look for in that document, but fairly straightforward DocuSign document. Okay, and finally, that was signed, and on Monday, the EIDL loan came through. So you can see here, SBAD Treasury mispay 37, and notice that there's a $100 processing fee for this user, and I think this may go to the third party loan officers that are doing this. So there is a processing fee. So that's the amount, and that is the process from beginning to end. So, and we verified all of this with this user, and it also is validated with the other emails that we've heard from several others. So we have a high degree of confidence that all of this is correct, and this is the timeline for this person. So 6 weeks for a person who applied within the first few hours of the EIDL portal. Two other examples from users. Obviously, I didn't want to do more than one example, but one other person who had applied on the third day of the program, so I believe that would have been April 1st, got their portal on Monday and got the approval email yesterday. So that seems generally like the timeline where if a loan officer has it, it should be processed within a couple days and wired within a couple days. So that is really the key. We said that from day one. The key is getting it to a loan officer, As soon as it's in front of someone, they can review it and process it. And there really was no more diligence. Who knows what they did on the back end in terms of checking credit, checking business tax returns, which I'm sure they did, and checking a lot on the business. It's hard to know exactly, but some of that was done. So we've heard a few others from Tuesday and Wednesday who are receiving access to their portal. So maybe for those folks, in the next couple days, they might get an email from a loan officer. So that's the positive news. The other positive news, as I mentioned in a video yesterday, is that in the new $3 trillion stimulus bill, there is $10 billion more for this program. So assuming that makes its way through in the next few weeks, there will be a large pot of money for more of these loans. So the bad news is that this is taking so long for so many people, but the good news is progress is being made, and I hope this adds clarity. If you found it helpful, please subscribe, please leave a comment. It means so much. Last thing I'm going to show you is on our website, we have COVID-19 free information. So you can go to helloskip.com/VIP-invite. It's not live on the HelloSkip main page, so you have to go to helloskip.com/VIP-invite, and you can sign up and get information on jobs, unemployment, volunteering or donating, or getting daily updates. And one of the things we've added too is a survey question at the top of the dashboard, whether you want more stimulus or not. And we use that data to inform a lot of what we're doing, and also publish more to say, hey, look, everyone wants more money. I mean, that's an obvious decision, but survey data helps. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this is helpful, and please stay safe and stay healthy.